Huizi had somehow gotten hold of a car. When Ning Fan saw it, he realized that the vehicle they had ridden before could almost be called luxurious. This one wasn't even worthy of scrap metal. Random pieces of steel patched together with filthy plastic boards nailed on top. The moment it moved, the whole thing groaned and creaked as if it might collapse at any second. "Where did you get this?" Qiao Fei's tone was full of displeasure. "Picked it up from the black market." Huizi curled her lip. "After splitting the money, we only had a little over 4,000 sola left. This heap cost 3,000. "Fine." Qiao Fei sighed, then turned to Ning Fan. "Did you leave the sola at home?" Earlier, Ning Fan had taken the money she gave him and slipped away alone, returning not long after. "Yeah." He nodded with a bitter smile. "I stuffed it through the door crack. Didn't dare go inside." Qiao Fei didn't comment further. "Get in." This time Ning Fan was the one driving. Qiao Fei and Huizi's faces were too well known. Sneaking out would be difficult. So only Ning Fan, the unfamiliar face, could deal with the guards at the district wall. They drove up to the gate. Two guards lounged against the wall, chatting idly. Ning Fan recognized one of them. It was the same man who had taken Lin Chuan's 1,000 sola the last time they left. Heading outside. "Which crew?" Seeing the car approach, the guards strolled forward, asking perfunctorily. "Windslayer Squad. On assignment." That was the excuse they had agreed upon. Windslayer Squad? The guard leaned closer to the window. Ning Fan's nerves tightened. In the back, Qiao Fei and Huizi already had their hands on their weapons. The district had announced Yang Beihai's death. The whole area was hunting them. If they were exposed, they'd have no choice but to fight their way out. "Didn't your captain just leave?" The guard's expression shifted. Ning Fan cursed inwardly. What rotten luck. Pretending to be Windslayer, only to run into the fact that their captain had just gone out. They'd walked straight into the barrel. The guard's gaze slid past Ning Fan, catching sight of Qiao Fei and Huizi in the back. All three froze. "Lin Chuan died out there?" Just as the two women prepared to strike, the guard's voice wavered with emotion. No one in the car answered. He bit his lip, glancing toward the inner district. "The man you killed, was it tied to Brother Chuan's death?" He'd heard the notice too, that the Wild Dog House had killed Yang Beihai. And seeing only Qiao Fei and Huizi inside, he seemed to understand. "Open the door. I'll get you out." The word stunned Ning Fan. He turned to the two women, seeking their decision. The guard, sensing their caution, stripped off his weapons and tossed them to his companion. "I'll take a walk outside. Keep watch for me." "All right, Qiao. Stay safe." His partner waved him off. Qiao Fei pulled open the rear door. The guard climbed in without hesitation. With him leading the way, the gate swung open and they passed through unhindered. "Why help us?" Qiao Fei finally spoke. "We've only got 1,000 sola left between us. If you want." The guard silently pulled a wad of bills from his coat and set it on the seat. "Life on the run is hard. I don't have much, but whatever I can give, I will." He dug out a cigarette box. Inside only 2 sticks remained. He handed one to Huizi, the other to Qiao Fei. "Bought these on Grace Road. Genuine. I saw the sorters pick them straight from the piles. 100 sola each. The nobles in the upper city love this brand. I've been saving them. Try it." Neither woman reached for the cigarettes. "Why?" Huizi pressed. The guard smiled faintly, his eyes shadowed with sorrow. "Every time Lin Chuan brought you out, he gave me 1,000 sola." They all knew it. Qiao Fei, Huizi, even Ning Fan had seen it. "At first I took it. But after a while I felt it was too much. He was too generous. Eventually I got embarrassed. I asked him, why pay me every time? Was he burning money?" The truth was, everyone in Wild Dog House had wondered the same. That money was earned with blood. 1,000 each trip was no small sum. But whenever asked, Lin Chuan would just grin and say, "Small change. Saves me the trouble of arguing." You know what he told me? The guard's gaze deepened. He said it wasn't about generosity or wasting money. He just hoped that if one day his pups fell outside but managed to crawl back, I'd open the gate. That I wouldn't cut off their road home. The guard sighed. He said dying out there was normal in this line of work. But he couldn't bear the thought of his own boys reaching the doorstep, only to be blocked by a cold wall. Huizi broke down in tears. Even Qiao Fei's eyes reddened. Ning Fan drove on, his chest tight. He remembered the carnage outside the district. Lin Chuan had seemed indifferent then, almost cold-blooded. Other lives weren't his concern. But his own pups, those he guarded with all his heart. I've seen many roaming crews. Few leaders care for their kids like that. The guard lit his cigarette, blowing smoke out the window. I respected him. Thank you, Qiao Fei said formally. He smiled. Don't thank me. Thank your brother Chuan. With that he opened the door, jumped down and waved. Stay alive if you can. In this damned world, finding someone who truly cares for you is rare. Don't waste it. Ning Fan's vision blurred. He thought, if only he'd joined Wild Dog House earlier. His time with Lin Chuan had been too short. Qiao Fei turned her face away, but Ning Fan caught the glimmer of a tear sliding down her cheek in the rearview mirror. When Chuan gave that guard money, I fought him over it. Her voice trembled. I said, if you want to give your own. I won't share with strangers. And the woman, who seemed colder than steel, now buried her face in her hands, sobbing. Chuan made me captain. But he never taught me how to lead. Fei Jie Huiji. Ning Fan rolled up his sleeves, wiping his reddened eyes with renewed resolve. If you haven't decided where to go next, I have a proposal. The two women, eyes blurred with tears, looked at him. His own were swollen too. Through clenched teeth he forced out the words. I want to go to District F-27. They understood instantly. The war bears weren't all dead yet. The car rolled along a familiar road. Only a dozen hours ago the Wild Dog House had still been whole. Let's head to the cave and rest for a while. Qiao Fei broke the silence inside the car. No need, Huizi began, but Qiao Fei cut her off. You and this kid haven't slept in days, have you? Ning Fan suddenly remembered that wager he had made with Lin Chuan. Felt like a lifetime ago. A strange sense of dislocation washed over him. Besides, De Zhuang's body still hasn't been buried. Huizi fell silent. Ning Fan said nothing either. After some time the car stopped outside the cave. De Zhuang's corpse still leaned against the wall, stiff with rigor. Ning Fan and Huizi quietly dug a deep pit, burying the massive body far beneath the earth. Before we rest, let's see your spirit attendant, Qiao Fei said, turning to Ning Fan. Though she still doubted he could have awakened a spirit attendant within the district, curiosity gnawed at her. In this world nothing was truly impossible. Ning Fan nodded, excitement flickering in his chest. He drew the black sword from his back, closed his eyes, and recalled the moment he killed Yang Beihai. Compared to stabbing Qing Bin, killing Yang Beihai hadn't unsettled him. Instead, it had brought a sense of release, vengeance for his brothers. At that moment, a voice had echoed in his mind. A sword isn't meant to be used like that. That must have been the spirit attendant. But now, under Qiao Fei and Huizi's watchful eyes, Ning Fan strained to summon that voice again. Nothing answered. 5 minutes passed. Rest, Qiao Fei said, showing little disappointment. I'll keep watch. When you're done, I'll take over. Huizi, uninterested, leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Ning Fan felt awkward. Had it all been an illusion? Just as Qiao Fei had said, within the district, awakening a spirit attendant was impossible? Seeing him still struggle, Qiao Fei finally advised, it's fate. Don't force it. Rest first. In the past she would never have said such words. But things were different now. She was the captain. Ning Fan's heart resisted, but in the end he obeyed. Without a spirit attendant, if his mind broke down further, he would become nothing but a burden. He didn't know how long he slept before the dream came. And in the dream the voice returned. A sword is meant to dance, not to stab. You insult the sword. One day I'll teach you. Ning Fan's eyes snapped open. He glanced around. But from outside the cave he heard Xiao Fei's voice. Qin Wu, must you really go this far? Ning Fan turned his head. Huizi was still leaning against the wall, but his eyes were open now, sharp and cold. Brother Hui, who is it? Ning Fan whispered. Hunter Squad. Walkers from District F-32, Huizi murmured. Ning Fan immediately grew cautious. Meeting a team from F-32 out here was no reunion of old neighbors. In the wild, teams clashed constantly over profit. And now Wild Dog House was like a slab of meat bleeding sent into the air. Half their crew was gone. Lin Chuan, their captain, was dead. The district had issued a bounty. Whoever dragged them back, dead or alive, would earn a fortune. Heh. Xiao Fei, that's a childish question. A deep voice called from outside. Free money. If it were you, wouldn't you take it? Free money. Xiao Fei snorted. So you look down on Wild Dog House that much? When Lin Chuan was alive, I wouldn't dare cross you. The man's tone shifted, sharp with malice. But now you're just a pack of strays. If I still feared you, I'd have no business being a walker. Huizi suddenly rose to his feet. Qin Wu, you've got the memory of a fish, don't you? He cursed, striding toward the cave mouth. Already forgotten how you knelt before me begging for mercy? Ning Fan followed. Qin Wu stood outside, about 180 tall, small nose, beady eyes, his face twisted with slyness. 5 men loomed behind him, their expressions hostile. Huizi's words darkened Qin Wu's face. Huizi, you're still alive. What so unfilial? Hoping your father's dead already? Huizi sneered. Didn't we agree? Whenever you see me you kneel and call me father. What's wrong, your mother remarrying? Qin Wu trembled with rage, then roared, kill them. Drag their corpses back for the bounty. The hunter squad moved without hesitation, each unleashing their spirit attendants. But they were slower than Xiao Fei. Even as Qin Wu barked his order, she was already in motion. Spirit attendant. Flower dance. Her tang blade flashed with afterimages, slicing straight for Qin Wu's throat. He flinched, startled, but one of his men stepped forward, raising both arms. Spirit attendant. Pig iron. Clang. The blade struck his arms, spraying blood into the air. The man winced in pain. Xiao Fei's face darkened. That strike hadn't severed his arms? In that brief hesitation 2 more men closed in on her. Huizi was locked with his own opponents, unable to help. Haha. Xiao Fei, your blade is fast, but you're still a woman. Strength. You lack it. Qin Wu sneered. If it were Lin Chuan's butcher, my brother's arms would be gone. Don't you dare spit Brother Chuan's name from your filthy mouth. Xiao Fei's eyes burned red as she fought the 3 men. The hunter squad was weaker than Wild Dog House. But even a tiger can be dragged down by a pack of wolves. Xiao Fei held her ground, speed keeping her even against 3 foes. Huizi, however, struggled. His spirit attendant was built for ambush, not head-on combat. Catching shadows in a straight fight was far harder. Qin Wu stood back, hands clasped like a cat toying with mice. He wasn't in a hurry. After all, he had once knelt before Huizi, calling him father. This was his chance to spit that humiliation back. He would make Huizi kneel, call him grandfather. And maybe he thought he'd get to play with Xiao Fei too. But just as he prepared to taunt them, a chill swept his back. Spirit attendant. Gale. An old walker's instincts saved him. He triggered his spirit attendant instantly, wind hurling him aside. He turned and saw a young face. Ning Fan's sword had missed, but he didn't falter. He stepped forward, thrusting again. Qin Wu smirked at the boy's rigid form. Where'd you pick up this pup? Still wet behind the ears and already baring his teeth. Bang! Pain exploded in Ning Fan's abdomen as his body was hurled through the air. Qin Wu, empowered by his spirit attendant, moved with terrifying speed. Unlike Qiao Fei, Qin Wu's spirit attendant harnessed the wind itself, amplifying his movements. In his own boastful words, when the wind was at his back he was invincible. Ning Fan had barely hit the ground when a gust swept past, followed by a heavy boot slamming down on his head. The force drove half his face into the dirt. "Hey Qiao Fei, who's this brat?" "Lin Chuan's bastard son." Qin Wu, certain of victory, laughed as Qiao Fei struggled against 3 opponents. "Whose kid is he? Don't tell me yours. Go to hell. Your filthy mouth stinks up the place." Ning Fan braced his hands against the ground, trying to rise. Bang! Qin Wu's boot came down again. Ning Fan's vision spun, the hard edge of the shoe carving bloody lines across his face. This kid's Lin Chuan's junior. How dare he insult his elders? Qin Wu sneered. "Tell you what, call me grandpa and I'll let you live." "Ning Fan, if you dare say it, I'll kill you myself." Huizi roared from the side. "Don't scare me. You think I'm that spineless?" Ning Fan spat, fury burning in his voice. "Save your strength for outsiders. Funny how you only know how to bully me." Huizi blinked, then chuckled. "You little brat, trying to rile me up?" His figure flickered. Even with half his face buried in the dirt, Ning Fan saw something uncanny. Huizi's shadow peeled away from his body. In that instant of distraction, Huizi's shadow latched onto his opponent's. "Ah!" The man screamed in agony. His shadow was pinned, just as Qingbin's had been. But this time Huizi wasn't wielding a dagger. His weapon was the shadow itself. Wiping blood from his mouth, Huizi grinned at his other foe. "2 against 1 all this time? Now it's just you and me. Let's play." Qin Wu noticed. Not only Huizi, Qiao Fei was pressing her advantage too. The man who had blocked her flower dance earlier now had his arms nearly hacked to ribbons. "If one strike won't sever them, I'll cut again. And again." Qiao Fei's eyes glittered with frost. "Let's see how many blows you can endure." Though wounded, her aura crushed the hunter squad. Qin Wu scowled deeply. How could 2 strays fight his squad to a standstill? And the boy under his boot, he didn't even count him as human. Useless trash. "I'll finish this myself." Qin Wu snarled. He couldn't afford to lose. But just as he prepared to strike, he felt something clutch his leg. "You." He looked down. Ning Fan, bloodied and pinned, had wrapped both arms tight around his calf. "Your opponent is me." One eye was bloodshot from the stomping, but Ning Fan's mouth twisted into a strange grin. "Big nephew." Qin Wu froze. Then he understood. He had once called Huizi father. Ning Fan called Huizi brother. So calling Qin Wu nephew was perfectly logical. "You little bastard. Die." Qin Wu's face contorted with rage. A short blade slipped from his sleeve, stabbing down toward Ning Fan's throat. But Ning Fan's waist snapped, legs coiling upward. His foot slammed into Qin Wu's chin. At the same instant he released his grip. Qin Wu was sent flying. "Pooh, pooh, pooh." Ning Fan staggered upright, spitting mud and blood. Huizi's eyes lit up. "Kid. Not bad." It had been a flawless counterattack. Textbook execution. Neither Huizi nor Qiao Fei had expected him to knock Qin Wu down. "Full marks in all 9 trials. You thought I was joking?" Ning Fan wiped blood from his face, vision blurring. One eye was swollen and red. "Impressive," Qiao Fei admitted even mid-battle. She saw it clearly. Ning Fan had deliberately provoked Qin Wu. And Qin Wu, dismissing him as nothing, hadn't even used his spirit attendant when striking. Without that, Ning Fan wasn't at such a disadvantage. "Damn it." Qin Wu staggered to his feet, shaking his head. The kick hadn't hurt much, but the humiliation was unbearable. To be knocked down by a pup without a spirit attendant. If word spread, the hunter squad would be a laughingstock. Ning Fan picked up his battered sword, crooked a finger at Qin Wu, taunting. Come on, nephew. Something inside him had changed. This battle had awakened a hidden trait in his blood. He wasn't nervous. He was exhilarated. Qin Wu, already seething, saw Ning Fan's gesture and snapped. Short blade in hand, his spirit attendant flared again. Riding the wind, he blurred forward, appearing before Ning Fan in an instant. Ning Fan closed his bloodied eye, refusing to let it cloud his vision. Steel flashed. He saw it. Die! Qin Wu roared. Too late to dodge. But Ning Fan had never planned to dodge. He thrust his broken sword straight into the gleam of steel. Squelch! Agony tore through his shoulder, the short blade buried deep, only the hilt protruding. But Ning Fan smiled. His broken sword had pierced Qin Wu's arm. He hadn't dodged. He had gambled. Gambled that Qin Wu wouldn't trade his life for Ning Fan's. And he was right. Qin Wu had shifted his strike, avoiding a fatal blow. The blade meant for Ning Fan's heart sank into his shoulder instead. You little bastard. Qin Wu snarled, arm bleeding, fury mounting. He couldn't stand being made a fool by this stray dog. But as he tried to wrench the blade free, Ning Fan's smile deepened. It was genuine. His eyes shone brighter. Thank you. Qin Wu thought he'd gone mad. But Ning Fan's grin widened. Thank you for letting me finally feel my spirit attendant. Qiao Fei and Huizi turned toward him. Their faces paled. What is that? Even Qiao Fei, cold as ice, gasped aloud. Ning Fan bared his teeth. Spirit attendant, sword without sorrow. Piercing Qin Wu's arm was already Ning Fan's limit. Experience. Strength. He had neither over Qin Wu. And he still had no spirit attendant. To fight to this point, Qiao Fei and Huizi couldn't help but change their view of him. Others might not know, but they did. He had been outside the district for barely a single day. Qin Wu, leader of the hunter squad. Even if his team was only mid-tier in District F32, they had been established for 4 years. Yet a rookie without a spirit attendant had forced this veteran into repeated losses. Qiao Fei and Huizi admitted to themselves, when they were new, they couldn't have done it. No wonder Brother Chuan had seen something in him. But what shocked them most now wasn't Ning Fan's resilience. It was the phantom that appeared behind him. White robes. Long hair. Refined features. Eyes half closed. A bell dangling from the left ear. The spirit embraced Ning Fan from behind, its hands guiding his wrists, like a master teaching a student. Ning Fan felt it too, his movements steered by an unseen force. Suddenly the phantom opened its eyes. And in Ning Fan's mind a weathered voice spoke. From now on I will teach you the sword. His heart thundered with excitement. At last he could confirm it. He had awakened a spirit attendant. But how to communicate with it? How to wield it? He had no idea. What should I do? He chose the simplest path. Ask without shame. The answer was blunt. Cut him down. Ning Fan didn't hesitate. He swung his broken sword at Qin Wu. Qin Wu saw the phantom too. He was stunned. But as the blade came, he reacted, spirit attendant flaring, body whipping back with the wind. He thought he had escaped. Then Ning Fan's sword carved a black full moon. Darkness swallowed Qin Wu's vision. Flash. When he blinked back to awareness, blood mist burst before his eyes. An arm spun through the air. Pain crashed into his brain. Only then did he realize, the arm was his own. Ning Fan stared at Qin Wu kneeling and clutching the wound, screaming. For a moment he was stunned. Had he truly done this? He looked at the broken sword in his hand, recalling the sensation of that strike. The hunter squad saw their leader maimed. Their morale collapsed. Especially with that phantom looming behind Ning Fan, pressing down like a mountain. No more. We surrender. One man dropped his weapon, raising his hands. You surrender? Huizi snorted, his dagger slicing across the man's throat without pause. Did I say you could? Qiao Fei was just as ruthless. In the blink of an eye, 5 corpses littered the ground. The hunter squad, save for Qin Wu writhing in the dirt, was annihilated. All that screaming gives me a headache. Huizi twirled his dagger, stalking toward Qin Wu. Like slaughtering pigs. But Qiao Fei stopped him. Wait. He's sensing a spirit attendant. Huizi turned to Ning Fan. Ning Fan lowered his gaze to the broken sword. Suddenly something clicked. He straightened, reversed his grip, blade aligned with his arm. So this is how a sword is meant to be used. He whispered the words. Whoosh. The broken sword sliced the air. No, wait, I was wrong. Swish. Qin Wu's head hit the ground. This strike carried no black full moon. But it was sharper, deadlier. Fast. Ruthless. Precise. Nothing like the ornamental swordplay taught in the academy. This was swordsmanship meant for killing. Ning Fan's single bright eye gleamed, exhilarated by the cut. Feijia Huiji. I told you I had a spirit attendant, didn't I? Earlier, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't show it. The embarrassment had stung. Not bad, kid. Huizi laughed, clapping him on the shoulder, hard enough that Ning Fan nearly toppled from his wounds. Till he grinned. I'm just not used to wielding it yet. You'll learn. Huizi tilted his head. What level is your spirit attendant? Seeing Ning Fan's confusion, he explained. When you summon it, how many souls do you feel gathered? Spirit levels were measured by soul count. Qiao Fei's Tang blade held 17 souls, making it a 10-soul grade. Of course, even within the same grade, strength varied. 10 souls was 10 soul. 99 souls was still 10 soul. The difference was vast. How many souls? Ning Fan thought back, then raised a finger. I think, just one. One. Huizi blinked. A single soul grade? Disappointment flickered across his face. Huizi himself was single soul, but his attendant held 9 souls. With only 1 soul, Ning Fan's was the weakest possible. It's fine. Spirit attendants can grow. Huizi forced a smile, offering encouragement. But anyone could see it was hollow comfort. Ning Fan, however, felt puzzled. Sword without sorrow didn't feel weak. He could sense its power bolstering him, clear as day. All right. You two rest. I'll deal with the corpses. Huizi, unsure how else to console him, slipped away. Once he was gone, Qiao Fei didn't bother with comfort. She led Ning Fan back into the cave, her face hardening. You said you felt the spirit attendant back in the district? Yes. When I killed Yang Beihai. But until just now, I thought it was an illusion. So you risked your life against Qin Wu, just to confirm it? Yes. Do you have no fear of death? Her tone was sharp. Qin Wu wasn't strong, but killing you would have been easy. Ning Fan understood. Her harshness was concern. Feijia, I'm part of Wild Dog House too. She said nothing. Watching you and Huiji fight with your lives, I couldn't just stand aside. He spoke earnestly. And I saw it because you worried for me, you fought more desperately. It was true. With their strength, Qiao Fei and Huizi could have handled the hunter squad. Not easily, but not impossibly. Qin Wu had died never realizing the real difference between the hunter squad and Wild Dog House wasn't just strength. It was conviction. Huizi had said Qin Wu once knelt before him, begging, calling him father. Ning Fan was certain. No one in Wild Dog House would ever break their spine like that. I know you think I'm young, a rookie, someone to protect. He looked down at the coal-black sword. But I can't always accept your protection without giving back. Qiao Fei opened her mouth, but Ning Fan spoke first. We're wild dogs. His smile was bitter. We gamble our lives for survival. Isn't that our way? You all stake your lives. Why shouldn't I? Being a walker was always a gamble with life. When Ning Fan first joined Wild Dog House, Lin Chuan had told him, everyone has their own reason for becoming a walker. He wasn't special. Everyone was gambling. Wang Yi de Zhuang Old Duan they lost their bets and so they died. Qiao Fei and Huizi returned to District F-32 to kill Yang Beihai for revenge. That too was a gamble. If that guard hadn't let them through they would have lost. Ning Fan understood clearly. Without a spirit attendant, surviving this time didn't mean he'd survive the next. Worse, he might drag Qiao Fei and Huizi down with him. He had to place his bet. On this table life itself was the stake. Fortunately he had won. Qiao Fei looked at him deeply then sighed. She didn't comment on his words. Instead she silently pulled out the gall crystal of a rotten-faced frog. Eat it. Ning Fan eyed the darkened crystal with reluctance. But after only a moment's hesitation he grabbed it, closed his eyes and swallowed. The taste wasn't bad. At least better than shadow dog meat. The crystal's healing properties worked quickly. His pain eased. Come here. Qiao Fei tore a strip of cloth from her sleeve, revealing pale skin. Ning Fan didn't understand. But she yanked his collar, pulled him close and tied the cloth over his bloodshot eye. The miasma outside is too heavy. If this wound isn't treated properly you'll lose the eye. Her voice was calm. But her breath brushed warm against his cheek, and her torn clothes revealed more than she intended. Ning Fan swore he hadn't meant to look. But at 18 curiosity was natural. Smack. Her palm cracked against his head. Just awakened a spirit attendant and already you think you're clever? Got dirty thoughts now. She glared at him. Feijia, I didn't. His face flushed red. Sneaking a glance wasn't terrible. Being caught was mortifying. Out. Go help Huizi. She waved him off. Okay. Ning Fan slouched out head down. Qiao Fei watched his back for a long moment then chuckled softly. Heh, little brat. Outside the cave. What are you doing out here? Huizi, hauling corpses toward the forest, waved cheerfully. Perfect timing. Help me lift this one. Damn pig's heavy as hell. Ning Fan obediently helped carry a body. As they walked, Huizi noticed his mood. Qiao Fei scold you? No, no. Ning Fan worried Huizi might guess about his stolen glance. But Huizi waved it off. Don't think too much. That's just her temper. And now she's captain, new broom sweeps hard. Mouth's bound to be sharp. Relieved, Ning Fan exhaled. Huizi, she scolded you too? She's a woman. Why would I argue with her? Huizi's old face reddened. Soon they dumped all the hunter squad corpses in the forest. Huizi handed Ning Fan the weapons and sola they'd looted. Sell these at the black market when we get back inside. Back in the cave, Ning Fan felt uneasy. He barely dared look at Qiao Fei. But she acted as if nothing had happened. This kid has a spirit attendant now. Even if it's only single soul grade, he can handle ordinary fights. Her tone was cool. If you're both fit, we can move out. Since she didn't mention earlier, Ning Fan relaxed. Feijia, I have an idea. Speak. The hunter squad showing up gave me a reminder. Ning Fan steadied himself. You've been to District F-27 many times. People there must know you. Some yes. Huizi nodded. We've got a decent reputation. Sometimes we bring goods back. Then you shouldn't show yourselves. We don't know what ties War Bear has in F-27. They're locals, we're outsiders. And even if Yang Beihai's shipment never existed, will the buyers trust us completely? Trust or not, who cares? We killed Yang Beihai for them. What, they'll cheat us? Huizi snapped. But Qiao Fei raised a hand then looked at Ning Fan. So you mean? I'll go to F-27 alone. Ning Fan smiled. My face is unfamiliar. No one there knows me. Even War Bear wouldn't notice a rookie like me. Huizi's face darkened. Qiao Fei narrowed her eyes. You're sure? If trouble comes, we can't help you. I'm sure. Ning Fan's voice was firm. I'll find a way to draw War Bear's survivors out. Qiao Fei lowered her head, thinking. Huizi nudged Ning Fan. Kid, if any of them recognize you, you're finished. To lure War Bear out, Ning Fan had to get close. The risk was enormous. Wheezy. Ning Fan licked his lips. We can't wait forever outside hoping they come out. Wheezy froze. Ning Fan glanced at the mound in the cave, the grave of Dezhuang. If you have a better plan, we'll discuss it. If not, we follow mine. Wheezy looked at Xiao Fei. After a long silence, she nodded. Fine. Be careful. Good. Ning Fan's eyes lit. Then let's set a time. Between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, you two wait outside F-27's gate. If you see me leading War Bear out, be ready. All right. Xiao Fei nodded again. After a brief discussion, they set off once more. Xiao Fei and Wheezy escorted Ning Fan near F-27's gate. There the three parted ways. Xiao Fei, you really trust that kid to go alone? Wheezy asked anxiously once Ning Fan was gone. Xiao Fei looked at him, thought for a moment, then sighed. I know. You're afraid of losing more family. Wheezy stiffened but didn't deny it. But that boy, what he said made sense. What did he say? It doesn't matter. Wheezy, let me ask you, if it were you going into F-27 to lure them out, would you refuse? Of course not. Wheezy froze as soon as he answered. Exactly. So if you'd go, why can't he? Xiao Fei's voice was calm. He has a spirit attendant now. We don't need to treat him like a child anymore. What's your business? At the gate of District F-27, the guard peered through the slit at Ning Fan. Ning Fan pulled 500 sola from his coat and slipped it inside. Passing through. Got some trade to do. The guard raised his brows, surprised at Ning Fan's age. So young, and already a walker who could survive alone outside. Rare. He glanced at the money, then opened the iron gate without further questions. Ning Fan carried a large bundle on his back. Once inside, he asked politely, Brother, which way to the black market? The guard pointed. Follow this road to the end, turn right, pass a red 6-story building. Ask around there. Thanks, brother. Ning Fan smiled. Watching his back, the guard muttered, The walkers these days are getting younger and younger. It was Ning Fan's first time entering a district other than F-32. Compared to F-32, this place felt livelier. The numbers of each district reflected its prosperity. Within the F region there were 69 districts. F-32 was middle tier. Here too the gate was crowded with walker teams not unlike F-32. It reminded Ning Fan of the day he first sought out Wheezy and Lin Chuan. Felt like a lifetime ago. The bundle on his back drew eyes as he entered. After asking the guard for directions, a shirtless brute rose and approached. Brother, selling goods? Ning Fan glanced at him. The man grinned, but it was a feral grin. Got anything good? If I need it, I'll take it off your hands right here. No need to risk the black market cutting you down. No need. I'm not in a hurry. A stroll suits me fine. The black market was safer. Most districts kept their black markets orderly. Long-term business required trust. No one wanted to smash their own rice bowl. Private deals, though, were another matter. Murder and robbery weren't unheard of inside the walls. Kill a man and the worst was 7 days in confinement. If the haul was worth it, 7 days was nothing. Just another job. Hey, don't rush off. The brute grabbed Ning Fan's shoulder. Ning Fan's eyes hardened. His broken sword flashed, slicing toward the man's arm. Startled, the brute recoiled, veins bulging. Damn you! Are you insane? His face twisted with rage. You dare raise a hand to me? Tired of living? Ning Fan's gaze was cold. He dropped his bundle and opened it. Inside lay weapons all stained with blood. Dead men's tools. You want them? His voice was flat. If you're looking for trouble, not here. Outside, we'll settle it. The gate guard saw and laughed. Old pig, don't bully the young. Lone wolves at that age don't know their limits. Don't bring grief on yourself. Old pig scowled but didn't move. The weapons were clearly trophies. A boy this young carrying arms from 5 or 6 men. He might have wiped out a whole team alone. Damn. Old Pig spat, slinking back to the wall. This bargain wasn't worth the risk. Not that he feared Ning Fan outright, but those battered weapons weren't worth a fight. Too little profit. Yet walking away left him unsatisfied. Ning Fan calmly repacked his bundle and headed for the black market. Once he was gone, Old Pig crooked a finger toward a nearby alley. A thin man hurried over. Had Ning Fan seen him, he would have recognized him instantly. Monkey from the War Bear team. He had been the first knocked from a tree by old Duan's lightning. And because he lost his fighting power, he had survived. Brother Zhu, what's up? Monkey's face still bore burn scars, his smile obsequious. Old Pig pointed at Ning Fan's back. Follow him. Find out how much sola he's carrying. Monkey blinked. You want to hit him? Old Pig snorted. Acting tough, calling himself a lone wolf. In the end, he's just alone. Not robbing him would be a waste. But what if he's really capable? If he were, would he be here in F-27 selling scraps? He'd already be reporting to the Tri-Union District. True enough. Monkey. Old Pig's lids drooped. Back when Sun Wong was alive, didn't War Bear do plenty of jobs like this? Handle it. You know how. At the mention of War Bear, Monkey understood. Old Pig was reminding him, he was living under another's roof now. Do well and Old Pig would feed him. Don't worry, Brother Zhu. I'll find out everything for you. Monkey scampered after Ning Fan. Old Pig sneered. Stray dog. Meanwhile, Ning Fan followed the guard's directions into the black market. Compared to the teams at the gate, this place was even busier. The street rang with haggling voices, curses flying when deals soured. Ning Fan's bundle drew stares. Young brother, what have you got there? Show me. I'll give you a fair price. A man in his 30s, cropped hair, sat cross-legged and beckoned. Ning Fan crouched, set down the bundle and opened it. The man frowned at the blood-stained weapons. Taken outside the walls? Ning Fan nodded. Walker used. Both understood. Huizi had warned him. Inside the districts, spirit attendants must never be mentioned. These were Hunter Squad's weapons once bound to spirits. But in the black market, all one had to say was Walker used. Everyone knew what it meant. The man thought, brow furrowing. Clean source. Not from F-27. His interest sharpened. Good. Wait here. He pulled out a phone and made a call. Ning Fan's eyes lit. This man's business was no small affair. Ordinary vendors rarely had phones. Such things were rare. Young brother, wait a bit. I've got a friend who deals in weapons. She'll come take a look. He smiled. Ning Fan nodded. All right. The man gestured at his stall. Browse while you wait. If you like something, I'll give you a good price. Help me open the day's trade. Ning Fan had already glanced over. Nothing caught his eye. Just then, at a nearby stall, a blond man with a lollipop in his mouth pointed at a frog gall crystal. Brother, can't you make this cheaper? 2,000. No bargaining. The stall owner spoke flatly. The blond man frowned. Come on, brother. This gall crystal's half rotten, its effect barely 50%. Eat it and I'll probably get the runs. And you're still charging 2,000. Buy it or leave. Don't waste my time. The owner's tone was sharp with impatience. Ning Fan turned his head, studying the blond man. He was strikingly handsome, pale-skinned, golden hair tied back with a cord. But his body, it was a mess of scars. Cuts covered him from head to toe. On his shoulder blade, the wound gaped so wide the bone gleamed through. What kind of attitude is that? Doing business like you're king of the world? Not even letting me haggle. The blond man sneered. If I weren't in so much pain, I'd put an arrow through you right now. The stall owner shot to his feet. Get the hell out. His anger drew others. Several stall keepers rose from nearby tables. Brother Zhou, what's wrong? Someone causing trouble. Kid, what's your deal? Looking for a fight. If you can afford it, buy. If not, get lost. The blonde man saw the crowd backing the owner. He wasn't nervous, but he didn't press the argument. Fine, fine. You win. To Ning Fan's surprise, though clearly annoyed, the blonde man still pulled out 2,000 sola and tossed it onto the stall. 2,000 it is. What choice do I have? My whole body's killing me. The owner snatched up the money and threw him the crystal. The blonde man sniffed it first. The pungent scent made him tilt his head back. Then, pinching his nose, he swallowed it in a few quick bites. The bleeding slowed, but just as he'd said, the crystal's quality was poor. Its effect was far weaker than the fresh ones Ning Fan and his companions had used before. You bastards, I'll remember this. The blonde man barked at the stall keepers who had jeered at him. They rose again, but he was already walking away. The scuffle was nothing more than a sideshow. Ning Fan barely paid it any mind. Young brother, these goods yours? A husky female voice cut in. Ning Fan looked over. A woman stood at the stall, cigarette dangling from her lips, arms folded across her chest. She looked 2 or 3 years older than Xiao Fei, dressed in a black leather skirt and a white camisole. Her pale skin drew plenty of stares from the men around. Ning Fan wasn't immune. He thought suddenly of Xiao Fei in the cave. He shook his head. Damn adolescents. They're mine, Ning Fan said evenly. Name your price. The woman crouched, casually flipping through the blood-stained weapons. All single-digit souls. He was right. The hunter squad had all been single-soul grade. Ning Fan was surprised. She could judge spirit attendant levels just from the weapons. Kaijia, what do you think? The cropped hair vendor asked with a grin. This deal's yours. Kaijia arched a brow at him, smirking. What, hoping for a cut? Business is business. Can't introduce for free, he said sheepishly. She snorted. 500. Done. With that settled, Kaijia turned to Ning Fan. You've got 6 pieces. Normally max price is 2,000 each. I'll give you 10,000 for the lot. It was fair. Before coming, Xiao Fei and Huizi had estimated the same, 2,000 per weapon. 12,000, Ning Fan said coolly. Buy the piece. Then keep looking. Kaijia shrugged. On this street, I'm the only one who buys in bulk. Walker Weapons had one use, spirit gambling. Each held a spirit attendant. Outside the walls, with special methods, they could be melted down. Sometimes the spirit would be extracted. But once freed, it couldn't bind to a weapon again. It became nourishment for another spirit. That was how spirit attendants grew stronger. Ning Fan and his companions hadn't melted them themselves. They lacked the skill. Best leave it to professionals. He wasn't intent on haggling. He began packing up, ready to try elsewhere. For him, selling was just a cover. He needed information about F-27 to sniff out War Bear's trail. Kid. Kaijia stopped him. You've got a tail. Ning Fan froze, then smiled. I know. He'd felt it all along. One of the 9 trials was counter-surveillance. Without a spirit attendant, tailing Ning Fan unnoticed was nearly impossible. Kaijia's eyes flickered with surprise. Sharp senses. Born a dog. Ning Fan shrugged, tightening his bundle. She hesitated. All right. On top of the price we agreed, I'll throw in a favor. Get rid of your tail. Save you the trouble. Deal. Ning Fan studied her. This woman carried weight in F-27. The way the stall keepers treated her, the confidence in her voice. It was clear. I know that tail. Yesterday he sold me a staff and a knuckle duster. Her words made Ning Fan's heart jolt. His hand clenched behind his back. A staff. A knuckle duster. Old Duan. Wang Yi. The timing fit too well. He wanted to whirl around, hunt the tail down. In the mist forest, after Old Duan and Wang Yi fell, whoever picked up their weapons. Most likely War Bear. His blood surged, but he forced it down. Not yet. He wanted War Bear wiped out completely. Not just one man. Whose man is he? Ning Fan asked calmly. Your F-27's awfully chaotic. Huh. Everywhere's the same. Money draws killers. Kaijia smirked. Ever heard of War Bear? They used to be famous here. Never. Ning Fan shook his head. She glanced past him. That tells War Bear. But word is their team got broken yesterday. 3 left. Now they're eating scraps behind Skull Squad's Old Pig. War Bear had only 3 men left. That piece of information was crucial to Ning Fan. When Lin Chuan led them in retreat, there had been no time to confirm how many enemies remained. Hey kid. So, selling or not? Kaijia pressed again. Selling. Ning Fan nodded. She smiled. Smart boy. But Ning Fan added at once, on one condition. Selling a few weapons, why so complicated? Kaijia's tone was impatient. Ning Fan didn't mind. That Skull Squad brute you mentioned, Old Pig, I ran into him when I entered the district. We already had words. Kaijia blinked, then frowned. You mean you want me to deal with Old Pig for a handful of weapons? Forget it. No, Ning Fan spread his hands. We clashed. Now his men are tailing me, hoping to rob me. Whether it's these goods or the Sola, none of it is safe in my hands. So you hold the goods. When I'm ready to leave the district, you deliver them back with the money. Outside the walls? Kid, let me remind you, if they want to rob you, it's easier out there. Ning Fan smiled. Outside they may find it convenient. But for me, it's even more convenient. Her eyes narrowed, studying him with new interest. This boy had confidence in his spirit attendant. If Skull Squad tried to strike him beyond the walls, he might well return with another bundle of weapons to sell. Little brother, so sure of yourself? Skull Squad isn't weak. She stepped closer, leaned to his ear and whispered, Old Pig. Double digits. 10 soul grade. Ning Fan barely registered the words. What struck him was her warm breath at his ear, scented faintly sweet. You're blushing, little brother. Kaijia laughed, dazzling. Ning Fan flushed with embarrassment. But she had already taken his bundle, hefting it easily. Then she cleared her throat. This boy's goods are mine now. When he leaves the district, I'll pay him back. Everyone remember, I've a poor memory, don't let me forget. Ning Fan stared, surprised. It was a bold gesture. First, she gave him reassurance. Declaring it publicly meant she couldn't cheat him. Second, she was speaking to his tail. In truth, she was telling Old Pig. The boy had no money. At least inside the district, robbing him was pointless. Thanks, Ning Fan said sincerely. No thanks needed. Just business. She swung the bundle over her shoulder, hips swaying as she walked away, waving lightly. When you're ready to leave, call me. I'll see you off. Her figure vanished at the far end of the market. A hand waved before Ning Fan's eyes. The cropped hair vendor grinned. Kid, you were staring. Ning Fan blinked, caught off guard. You've got your eye on Kaijia, eh? No, Ning Fan denied instantly. The man smirked. Come on. Men thinking about women, that's normal. Nothing to be ashamed of. You say so. Ning Fan brushed it off, turning away. But truthfully, he had been watching her. Not only for her looks, though she was striking. More for her ability. She dealt in weapons. She knew how to increase a spirit attendant's soul count. Sword without sorrow was only single soul grade. If he could build a long-term partnership with her, perhaps not only his spirit, but Huizi's and Xiao Fei's too could grow stronger. Leaving the market, Ning Fan wandered the streets. Half an hour later, he confirmed Monkey was no longer tailing him. No doubt he'd heard Kaijia's words, realized Ning Fan had no profit to steal, and gone back to report to Old Pig. By evening, Ning Fan found a small inn near the market. He had 2,000 sola, enough for a modest stay. Lying on the bed, he pondered how to flush out the 3 War Bear survivors hiding with Skull Squad. If he could avoid Old Pig, all the better. But if Old Pig insisted on meddling, then Skull Squad would have to be destroyed. Vengeance was non-negotiable. Gradually his eyelids grew heavy. For the first time in days he slept soundly. During Lin Chuan's trial he had worked nights as a sorter, never resting. Outside the walls, even brief naps had been taken in constant vigilance. To lie in bed truly at ease, it felt almost foreign. But his peace was shattered. A scream tore through the night. Ning Fan jolted upright. He checked his surroundings, still in the inn, no danger inside. The sound came from outside the window. He pressed against the wall, peering out. Torches flared along the street. Another scream rang out. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. This was inside the district. What was happening? Catch him! 4 men in uniform sprinted down the alley. The leader carried a massive axe. Ning Fan recognized their garb. Monitors. Why were they here? Had someone used a spirit attendant inside the district? Mentioning spirits openly was a crime. Using them, punishable by death. Who would dare? What hatred could drive someone to risk execution? Ning Fan hurried downstairs. The innkeeper was at the door watching. Brother, what's going on? Ning Fan asked. Murder. The innkeeper spat. Didn't see clearly, just a head of blonde hair. Ning Fan froze. Blonde hair? He thought instantly of the man at the market, the one who bought the rotten frog crystal. A realization struck him. Brother, how many dead? No idea. The innkeeper frowned. But all from the market. Likely a deal gone bad, grudges boiling over. Another shopkeeper joined in. Brutal. Old Zhou's whole family, 4 of them, slaughtered. What kind of hatred drives that? Ning Fan understood. But he couldn't comprehend. He remembered. The blonde youth had said he'd remember those who cursed him. One stall owner had been Zhou. But who would imagine, over such a petty quarrel, he would slaughter an entire family? The shopkeeper muttered again. Still, the kid's got skill. His arrows were like light itself. Even the monitors lost 3 men. Arrows. Light. Ning Fan's face went pale. Light arrows. Ning Fan would never have imagined that the killer who shot Wang Yi, Old Duan, and De Zhuang had once been so close to him. If he had drawn his sword then, he might have ended the man's life on the spot. Back in the mist forest, Ning Fan had glimpsed the figure on the hillside. But the distance was too great. He hadn't seen the man's face, only the headscarf wrapped around his head. Now, as regret gnawed at him, another thought struck. That blonde man's body was covered in blade wounds. Could those wounds have been carved by Brother Chuan? Had Chuan gone back to find him, cut him down so brutally? Then, could Brother Chuan still be alive? Hope flared in Ning Fan's chest. They had never found Chuan's body. Why assume he was dead? The thought sparked a bold resolve. Catch the blonde man. At the very least, force him to reveal Chuan's fate. Hey kid, where are you going? It's chaos out there. The innkeeper's words were cut short as Ning Fan bolted into the night. The streets had lost their daytime bustle. Though the lower city never saw sunlight, lamps marked the hours. Now most were extinguished. Fortunately, Ning Fan's training in the wild had sharpened his senses. Even in the dimness he could read the street. There. First squad chase. Second and third flank through Rotten Fish Alley. The axe-bearing monitor barked orders. Ning Fan slipped behind the first squad, shadowing them. His training in reconnaissance, one of the 9 trials, finally had its use. For 5 tense minutes he followed, heart pounding. He had to avoid detection, keep pace without summoning his spirit attendant. And most of all, he had to seize the blonde man before the monitors did. If they caught him, Ning Fan would never wrest him away. Killing Qin Wu and awakening his spirit hadn't made Ning Fan reckless. He knew the stakes. Then a shout split the night. He's heading for the gate. Stop him. Ning Fan realized they were at the district wall. The guard who had let him in earlier was dozing at the gate. At the cry he leapt up. Flash. A streak of white light. The guard never drew his weapon. A hole opened in his brow and he collapsed silently. Dead in an instant. The sight made Ning Fan's blood boil. He thought of old Duan and Wang Yi. Now he was certain. The blonde man was the hooded assassin from the hillside. Even F7's monitors couldn't catch me. You think you can? The blonde man sprinted to the gate. He stopped deliberately, turned and raised his middle finger at the pursuers. Tell those black market merchants, next time mind your manners. Don't curse your customers. With that he shoved the iron gate open and vanished into the night beyond. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. He couldn't let him escape. He lunged forward. The monitors halted. Their jurisdiction ended at the wall. Inside they could act. Outside it was no longer their concern. But when they saw Ning Fan racing for the gate, the axe-bearer roared, "Stop!" Ning Fan ignored him, legs pumping. A sudden gust of force swept from behind. Instinctively Ning Fan dove aside. The giant axe whistled past, slammed into the wall with a clang and quivered there. Ning Fan stared at the weapon, still vibrating, then turned with fury. "I told you to stop. Didn't you hear?" The axe-bearer strode forward, face cold. "Why were you running?" More monitors closed in, surrounding him. Ning Fan glanced at the gate. The chance was gone. The blonde man had escaped. "Why stop me?" Ning Fan growled. "What crime have I committed?" Still mouthing off? A tall, gaunt monitor shoved his head against the wall. "Show respect when you speak to our vice-captain." Ning Fan didn't resist. He only sneered. "Couldn't catch the real criminal, so you vent on me, a law-abiding man? You little bastard." The gaunt man raised a brow. Young but with a sharp tongue. Crack. His boot slammed into the back of Ning Fan's knee. Pain shot through him, his leg buckling. But just before his knee hit the ground, Ning Fan clenched his teeth and forced himself upright again. The monitor's eyes flashed with malice. That kick was meant to make him kneel. But this boy. Playing tough, are you? He lifted his leg again. Enough. The vice-captain strode over, yanked the axe free. "Take him back." The gaunt man seized Ning Fan's collar, whispering in his ear. "Hard bones, huh? I've seen plenty. Pray you don't end up in my hands." Ning Fan met his gaze, lips curling into a smile. "What are you laughing at?" The man felt mocked by that grin. "So this is the legendary monitor? What a joke." Ning Fan's smile deepened. "I think I understand now." "What do you understand?" the vice-captain asked. Ning Fan's eyes burned with contempt. "That so-called iron law, no spirit attendance inside the district. It's nothing but bullshit." The monitors froze, staring in disbelief. This boy had dared speak the forbidden word, spirit attendance, right to their faces. And worse, he had spat on the district's iron law. Provocation. Blatant provocation. "Kid, childish excuses won't save you here." The vice-captain's face hardened. But Ning Fan stood tall, neck stiff, eyes locked on him. "Did I say anything wrong?" He pointed at the gate. "The man escaped. Did you catch him?" The vice-captain narrowed his eyes at Ning Fan. "Meng Fu, this brat needs discipline. Hand him over to me. I'll teach him how to speak properly within a day." The tall, gaunt man grinned viciously. The vice-captain considered for a moment. "Take him back first." The gaunt man looked disappointed, but he didn't dare press Ning Fan further in front of his superior. Soon Ning Fan was escorted into a building deep within the inner district. In a sealed room, his hands and feet were bound to a chair. Opposite him sat the vice-captain. "You know that man?" He lounged back, cigarette smoke acrid in the air, one leg crossed over the other. Ning Fan said nothing. "Just for mentioning spirit attendance inside the district, I could lock you away for 10 years, the vice-captain said coolly. "Playing tough won't help you here. Meng Fu, isn't it?" Ning Fan suddenly smiled. "Tell me, was I the one who killed those people?" The vice captain's face darkened. And did I use a spirit attendant inside the district? Ning Fan pressed. The man frowned. Ning Fan sneered. The one who broke the rules did so outside. Watch your mouth, boy. If you had any skill, the one sitting here under interrogation would be that archer, not me. Ning Fan cut him off. The cigarette burned down to ash between the vice captain's fingers. He didn't notice his dead fish eyes fixed on Ning Fan. You seem to have a problem with us monitors. Not at first. So it's because we let that man go? That's why you're hostile. Something like that. Ning Fan's anger was real. It didn't matter if they failed to catch him. But they had stopped Ning Fan. Had they not, he might have lured the blonde man toward the cave, where Qiao Fei and Huizi could join the fight. It wouldn't have guaranteed success, but it was hope. The vice captain's axe had shattered that hope. You've got a grudge against him? Ning Fan stayed silent. But you don't seem to know him well. The vice captain slid a paper across the table. Here's his file. You'll see, our failure to catch him wasn't by chance. Curiosity 1. Ning Fan looked down. At the top was a photograph. It was him. Ning Fan etched the face into memory. Below were the details. Name, Su Bei. Age about 25. Spirit attendant. Light arrows. Soul grade, 100 soul or higher. Crimes. Illegal use of spirit attendant in District F7, killing 7 residents and monitors. Illegal use in District F11, killing 9 senior administrators and monitors. Illegal use in District F19. Wanted level A. Ning Fan froze. 100 soul grade. Qiao Fei had judged him 10 soul. She had been wrong. This Su Bei was far stronger than they had imagined. But those wounds on his body. Could Brother Chuan, only single soul grade, have cut him so badly? Questions churned in Ning Fan's mind. He longed to confront Su Bei to demand answers. And Su Bei's glorious record stretched across more than 10 districts. He had wreaked havoc throughout the F region. Yet he remained free, appearing wherever he pleased. You think if you'd chased him, would he be dead, or you? The vice captain's mocking smile broke Ning Fan's thoughts. Don't tell me you stopped me to save me. Ning Fan steadied himself. From your men's behavior, I don't see much kindness. Of course not. I had no reason to save you. The vice captain shrugged. I only wanted to learn more about Su Bei from you. He smirked. But clearly you know less than we do. Ning Fan couldn't argue. He realized how much he had changed. Once he had been cautious, preparing everything before acting. But since joining Wild Dog House, nothing had given him time. Yang Beihai's betrayal, sudden. His brother's deaths, sudden. No time to think, no time to plan. He had become a man acting on instinct. Whether the vice captain meant well or not, at least. It was a wake-up call. Ning Fan thought of Lin Chuan. Chuan seemed reckless, hot-tempered, impulsive. But when Su Bei appeared, he had responded with perfect clarity. Always remain calm. Never let emotion cloud judgment. With that realization, Ning Fan felt his heart settle, for the first time in 3 days. Peace. He was beginning to adapt to life beyond the district walls. Thank you, Ning Fan said softly. I apologize for my rashness earlier. The vice captain had been rising to leave. At Ning Fan's words, he paused. He studied the boy, then chuckled. Changing your tune, eh? No. Just acknowledging, you did save my life. Ning Fan licked his lips. But your man's bullying, I'll remember that. One thing doesn't erase another. Oh. Bearing grudges against my men right in front of me? The vice captain tilted his head, amused. What, planning to beat him someday? If I get the chance, I will. Ning Fan's tone was firm. But right now, I'd rather talk cooperation. The vice captain blinked, then scoffed. What cooperation could we have? Su Bei has committed crimes across districts. No monitor has caught him. If F27 succeeds, wouldn't that bring glory to your name? Catch Su Bei. The vice captain looked at him like a fool. He's gone. You saw it yourself. What nonsense. Who says he won't return? Ning Fan raised a brow. Trust me, I've an 80% chance of taking him. The vice captain's smile faded. He doubted the boy's words, but the lure was strong. If he succeeded where all others had failed, F-27's monitors would shine. As he hesitated, a voice rang from outside, sharp with irritation. Middle of the night, dragging me here? Don't you know lack of sleep ages a woman? The door swung open. Ning Fan turned and froze. The newcomer at the threshold also stopped short, staring back at him. How are you here? How are you here? The two spoke in unison. Even the vice captain looked stunned. Captain Wen, you know him? He asked the woman. Before she could answer, Ning Fan reacted more sharply. She's your captain? Yes. The vice captain blinked in confusion. Wen Kai, captain of the F-27 monitors. It was her. The same Kaijia who had bought Ning Fan's weapons at the black market earlier that day. Ning Fan had suspected she held influence in F-27. He'd seen it in the way others treated her. But he had never imagined she was the monitor's captain. Old Meng, why did you arrest him? What crime did he commit? Wen Kai asked, frowning. The vice captain hesitated, cautious. Instead of answering, he countered, Captain Wen, what's your relationship with him? Wen Kai glanced at Ning Fan, brows knitting. After a pause, she said softly, he's my client. Ah, then it's fine. The vice captain immediately circled behind the chair and untied Ning Fan's ropes. His attitude flipped completely. So he's one of us. Don't take offense, little brother. Ning Fan stared at him, unable to resist asking, Brother, did a spirit attendant possess you or something? The vice captain gave an awkward laugh, not angry, and headed for the door with the ropes in hand. Captain, when you two talk, I won't intrude. As for the details, ask this young man yourself. He paused, then clasped his hands toward Ning Fan. And don't forget you thanked me earlier. Don't go spreading nonsense. Just as he reached for the door, Wen Kai stopped him. Wait. The vice captain stiffened. What is it, Captain Wen? Got any cigarettes? Yes. He hurriedly handed her a full pack. Fresh from the Road of Grace. New stock. Good. Now go. Wen Kai took the pack, waved him off. Relieved, the vice captain fled. Ning Fan was dumbfounded. Moments ago the man had seemed hard as iron. Now he looked like a eunuch groveling at the Empress's feet. Was Wen Kai truly that terrifying? Why did you come in? Ning Fan asked. She lit a cigarette. To see you off when you leave the district. 2 minutes ago I didn't even know you were the monitor's captain. Ning Fan gave a bitter smile. Weren't you a black market trader? Who says public servants can't do business? Wen Kai arched a brow. Now tell me, why are you here? If you really broke the law, don't expect me to protect you. We're not that close. I mentioned spirit attendants inside the district. Ning Fan recounted what had happened. Wen Kai listened, then shrugged. Not a big deal. That's it. What else? Invite you to dinner. She was brisk. All right, go. It's nothing serious. Just be careful next time. What about Su Bei? Ning Fan pressed. That's monitor business, Wen Kai said coolly. I truly have a way to catch him. Ning Fan didn't move. Her eyelids lowered, gaze turning strange. Little wild dog, don't overestimate yourself. Monitors across districts have failed. Why do you think you can succeed? Ning Fan froze. What had she just called him? Little wild dog. Was it coincidence or did she know? He forced calm, steadying his emotions. Listen to my plan. You lose nothing. If it sounds impossible, reject me then. Wen Kai studied him for a long moment, then smiled. Fine. Speak. First, give me a list of the victims. Ning Fan's eyes lit. I need to know how many Su Bei killed tonight. Without hesitation, Wen Kai ordered her men to bring the list. Ning Fan examined it carefully, then smiled. He'll return. Within 3 days. Wen Kai's interest sharpened. Why so certain? Because he hasn't finished. Ning Fan pointed at the names. Zhou Hao, his whole family of 4 slaughtered. Su Feng, even his bedridden father wasn't spared. That proves Su Bei is vindictive, relentless. And do you know why he killed them? Probably because of that quarrel at the market with Zhou Hao and Su Feng. Exactly. And I was there. Right beside them, just before you came to see my goods. Go on. It was just a petty argument. Yet Su Bei wiped out their families. That shows his nature, obsessive, reckless. Ning Fan tapped the list. Zhou Hao clashed with him. Su Feng backed him and died too. But 2 others also stood up for Zhou Hao. Wen Kai's eyes flickered. So you mean Su Bei will return to kill those 2 as well? Not just them. Their families. Ning Fan's voice was firm. Wen Kai's face grew grave. She crushed her cigarette, chin resting on her hand, thinking long. Would he dare come back? This isn't about daring. He feels no fear. A man who breaks rules again and again without punishment. Rules mean nothing to him. Anger flashed in Wen Kai's eyes. Fine. I'll have the guards ease their vigilance. Let's see if he dares enter again. That's unnecessary. Ning Fan shook his head. With deaths inside and the killer escaped, relaxed guards would look suspicious. Kaijie, Su Bei may be mad, but he isn't stupid. She frowned at him. Then unexpectedly she laughed. Why not let you command this operation? Ning Fan blinked. Arms folded, head tilted. When Kai said, I'm not joking. You proposed it. You should lead it. But I'm no monitor. Doesn't matter. I'm captain. My word stands. She smiled. But if Su Bei doesn't return as you predict, you won't get your sola. Ning Fan was stunned. Was this woman shameless? What did that have to do with their earlier deal? Before he could protest, her smile turned sly. And if Su Bei does return, but you fail to keep him, then the blame will be yours. This doesn't seem right. Ning Fan gave a dry laugh. There's nothing wrong with it. It's settled. When Kai patted his shoulder. I trust you. No, Kaijie, trust has nothing to do with it. Ning Fan grew anxious. I'm not a monitor. I only gave you a reminder. Why should the responsibility fall on me? And what benefit do I get? If he doesn't show up, I'm the one who loses. Weren't you confident just now? When Kai teased with a sly smile. Ning Fan opened his mouth to argue, but she cut him off. If we catch him, you interrogate first. Ning Fan's heart jolted. Interrogate first. That was the chance he needed. At the very least, he could pry Su Bei's lips open and learn Brother Chuan's fate. Wait, how did Wen Kai know he wanted to interrogate him? What exactly did this woman know? Well, do you agree? She asked softly. Ning Fan stared at her for a long moment. So far she showed no hostility. Had he not volunteered the idea of capturing Su Bei, he could have walked away freely. I agree, Ning Fan said firmly. But I have one condition. Children are always troublesome, forever making demands of adults. Wen Kai flicked her hair. Speak. When Wen Kai led Ning Fan out into the monitor's main hall, curious eyes turned. The boy had come out unscathed? Captain Wen, the tall, gaunt man rose, baffled. Quiet. Wen Kai waved him down. He fell silent at once. Wen Kai clapped her hands, drawing everyone's attention. Listen up. Regarding Su Bei's use of a spirit attendant inside the district today, I have a new plan. She pulled Ning Fan forward, resting her hands on his shoulders. To be precise, this boy has a good idea. So, for the next 3 days he will command the monitors. Myself included, we follow his orders. Of course, within reason. If his demands break regulations, report to me. I'll decide. Understood. The hall fell into stunned silence. Wasn't this boy just dragged in as a prisoner? How had he become commander in the blink of an eye? Captain Wen, the gaunt man couldn't accept it. By the way, Li Hui, one more thing. Wen Kai turned to him. I heard you kicked this boy earlier? Li Hui stiffened, then defended himself. He was too arrogant. I wanted to teach him some respect, so... Just answer. Did you kick him? Yes. Good. Wen Kai's tone was cool. I promised him, if we catch Su Bei he gets to return that kick. Li Hui glared at Ning Fan. Ning Fan met his gaze calmly. That was the condition he had asked of Wen Kai. He hadn't forgotten that kick. Fine, brat. If you really catch Su Bei I'll let you kick me. So what? At the wall earlier what did you say? Don't let me fall into your hands, wasn't it? Ning Fan smiled. Now, doesn't it look like you've fallen into mine? Outside District F-27 in the mist forest. Thud, thud, thud. After a series of sounds, Su Bei rose, clutching a tree, face pale. Damn it! That gall crystal really was rotten. He cursed. Not worth 2,000. Damn swindlers. Ring, ring, ring. His phone buzzed. Seeing the number, his brow furrowed deeper. Till he answered. Little master, it's Yi Liang. I know. Speak. There's urgent family business. Master Su sent me to bring you home. Not going. Little master. Shut up. If that's all, I'm hanging up. Master Su said if you don't return he'll kill your mother. Su Bei's eyes darkened. Little master, I believe your father isn't joking. I'll return within 3 days. Su Bei cut him off. Tell the old bastard, if he touches my mother I'll destroy him. Understood. I'll relay it. Yi Liang hesitated. My advice, leave sooner. Not your concern. I said 3 days. 3 days it is. Su Bei snapped. I'll finish killing who I need to kill, then I'll go back. Killing. Goodbye. He hung up, a feverish flush spreading across his face. So angry. I want to kill. On his finger the ring glowed gold. What did you say? Why didn't you tell me earlier? In the hall, Ning Fan's voice rose as he confronted Wen Kai. Even monitors can't use spirit attendants inside the district? Then how can we catch Su Bei? You were so confident, I thought you already knew. Wen Kai leaned back in her chair, monitor uniform crisp, long legs crossed on the desk. Ning Fan cursed inwardly. She had done it deliberately. Only after binding him to the plan did she reveal that monitors too were barred from using spirit attendants inside the district. Su Bei was at least 100 soul grade. Without spirit attendants, how could they possibly catch him? Relax. We have other means. Wen Kai smiled. Spirit suppressors. High-tech devices. Ever heard of them? As she explained, Ning Fan's eyes widened. Spirit suppressors were advanced instruments from the Research Institute, their parts sourced from the Road of Grace. Each set had 4 components. Placed within 50 meters of each other and activated, they created a vacuum zone where spirit attendants could not be used. Why didn't you use them before? Ning Fan asked. They take at least 20 minutes to activate, Wen Kai replied. So they must be set in advance. Not usable mid-chase. Ning Fan thought hard. How many sets do you have? 2. She raised 2 fingers. How to deploy them, that's your call. Good. Ning Fan nodded. Then let's start setting them up now. So soon? Wen Kai looked surprised. He only fled 2 hours ago. Could he return so quickly? Hard to say. Ning Fan gazed out the window. He's a madman. You can't judge him by normal logic. And if he does return, doesn't that mean you're a madman too? Wen Kai teased. Otherwise, how could you read a madman's mind? Ning Fan said nothing. He no longer knew if he was a madman or not. All he had wanted was to be a walker, earn money, and buy the medicine that could save his mother. But now that simple dream felt further away than ever. There was no choice. From the moment Wild Dog House began to bleed, Ning Fan could no longer stand aside. His mother must be saved. His brothers' deaths must be avenged. Dawn was still far off. 5 hours had passed since Su Bei's bloody escape. In a shabby house, Li Hui sat yawning, clutching his machete. "I swear that brat's just messing with us," he muttered. "Su Bei isn't stupid. He finally got away. Why would he come back and walk into our trap?" Beside him, Vice Captain Meng's eyelids drooped. His massive axe rested at his side. "Enough whining. If you don't like it, take it up with Captain Wen." At her name, Li Hui's tone softened. "I don't get why she trusts him so much." "That boy's got brains," Meng said evenly. "At least for now, Su Bei really is reckless. A man like that can't be judged by normal logic." "You too, Meng Fu? Defending that brat?" Li Hui sneered. Meng chuckled. "What's wrong? Afraid he'll catch Su Bei and claim his kickback? Hell, if he really does catch Su Bei, F-27's monitors will make a name for themselves. Let him kick me once, so what? He won't kill me." Meng sighed. "I told you before, don't think this uniform makes you untouchable. It only earns grudges." Li Hui scoffed. "I follow the rules. What trouble can that bring? The brat just got lucky," sweet-talked Captain Wen somehow. "Captain Wen, easy to fool?" Meng laughed. Li Hui opened his mouth, then shut it. But Meng's gaze suddenly sharpened. Li Hui felt it too, the air had changed. "Shit. Don't tell me the brat was right." He leapt up, gripping his blade, eyes wary. Meng's face hardened, hand tightening on his axe. He had already let Su Bei slip once. Even knowing how dangerous the man was, it gnawed at him. If Su Bei dared return now and they still failed, it would be no different than being trampled into the dirt. At that same moment, on the rooftop of a 6-story building in Rotten Fish Alley, Ning Fan held a telescope in one hand, a phone in the other. He had never touched such equipment before. The monitors could not use spirit attendants inside the district, but their gear was far superior to any walkers. "He's here." Ning Fan's voice trembled with excitement. "Activate Spirit Suppressor 1. "Understood." When Kai's voice came through the line, they had known the instant Su Bei re-entered the district. Under Ning Fan's plan, the guards at the gate had not slackened but grown stricter. A killer using a spirit attendant inside the walls, leaving 6 or 7 dead, tightened security was the natural response. As Ning Fan had said, if Su Bei saw the guards relax, he would smell a trap and stay away. Now Su Bei had wrapped his head in cloth, smeared mud on his face and donned a new identity. But it was a disguise only in his own mind. The guards had recognized him instantly. "You were right. He really is insane." When Kai admitted, shocked as Su Bei strode back into F-27. "Mad, yes. But more than that, he doesn't even see the monitors as a threat," Ning Fan replied. When Kai's laugh was cold. "No need to provoke me, boy. I'm already furious. Just stating the truth." Watching Su Bei approach a house, Ning Fan ordered, "Activate Spirit Suppressor 2. "Got it." When Kai relayed the command, Ning Fan pocketed the phone and telescope, sprinting down the stairs. Inside the house, Meng and Li Hui stood tense, eyes locked on the window. Their nerves were taut. Su Bei was 100 soul grade. They were only men, stronger than most but still ordinary. Without spirit attendants they had no advantage. Whoosh. A beam of light shot through the window. It struck the pillow on the bed, where a man should have been sleeping. The merchant who had once spoken up for Zhou Hao. Su Bei was direct. He had come for blood. 5 seconds later, another arrow of light pierced the same spot. 2 arrows. 1 hole. Sweat trickled down Li Hui's face. Su Bei's aim was terrifying. In the dark, 2 arrows fired into the exact same point. But why did he fear one might not kill? Before they could puzzle it out, Su Bei's laughter rang outside. "Ha! You underestimated me. His voice was wild. Someone among you has brains, actually guessed I'd return? Meng's heart sank. He knows. The room's occupants had already been evacuated. The plan was simple. Su Bei would fire, then enter to confirm the kill. Inside, his ranged advantage would vanish. Meng and Li Hui could strike him by surprise, while monitors hidden nearby closed the trap. Around the building, the spirit suppressors were already in place. 17 minutes more and they would activate fully. Then Su Bei's 100-soul attendant would be useless. But Su Bei had not entered. Meng understood why he had fired twice. Su Bei had killed too many. He knew the sound of an arrow piercing flesh. Something was wrong. So he tested with a second shot. When both arrows failed to strike a body, the cunning madman realized. He was walking into an ambush. Meng Fu, what now? Do we chase? Li Hui's grip tightened, sweat beading on his brow. But before he finished, Meng suddenly lunged aside and kicked him hard in the back. Boom! The wall behind them cracked and split. Li Hui's face was drenched in terror, cold sweat streaming down his forehead. If Vice Captain Meng hadn't kicked him aside just in time, that beam of light, it would have pierced his heart. Staring at the cracked wall behind him, Li Hui finally understood the true power of a 100-soul grade. Don't you dare lose focus. Meng growled low. He hasn't left yet. Li Hui scrambled up, pressing himself against the wall, fingers pale, his tall, thin body trembling. He hasn't left? What's he trying to do? As they had discussed before, Li Hui realized Su Bei truly was a madman. Even knowing there was an ambush inside the district, he hadn't fled immediately. Could it be? Heh. The bastard's holding a grudge against us. Meng sneered. He wants us dead too. Li Hui suddenly recalled Su Bei's file. In other districts, Su Bei had slaughtered monitors, even high-ranking administrators. Now it made sense. Those men must have provoked him during capture attempts. Bang! Another arrow punched through the wall. Ah! Meng had already shifted for cover, but the wall behind him couldn't stop the light. Blood mist burst from his waist. Vice Captain Meng! Li Hui shouted, rushing toward him. But just as he left the wall, bang! The spot he had vacated was pierced clean through, leaving a 10-centimeter hole. Li Hui froze. Had he not moved, that arrow would have torn through his chest. Now he saw Meng's wound clearly. A chunk of flesh was gone from his right side. He could glimpse the organs beneath. Vice Captain. I'm fine. Meng forced himself upright, leaning against the wall, pulling out his phone. Kid Su Bei's made his move. On the line, Ning Fan said something. Meng's eyes flickered with doubt. What do you mean? Then what? All right. I understand. He hung up. Li Hui rushed to ask, what did that brat say? Find a way to stall him. Stall? How? He's here to kill us. He wants us dead. Li Hui was breaking down. Never in his years as a monitor had he faced someone like Su Bei. Not only mad but monstrously strong. They hadn't even glimpsed his shadow. Now he understood Ning Fan's words. Su Bei didn't see monitors as anything at all. That kid said Su Bei would return. He was right. So, I trust him. Meng grinned through the pain, staggering toward the window. Su Bei treats F-27 like his toilet. Comes in, shits, leaves. If we let him run again, where's our pride as monitors? Vice Captain, what are you doing? Su Bei, is it? Meng reached the window, ignoring Li Hui, and roared into the night. You think monitors are soft fruit to squeeze? Show yourself, bastard. Let me see what kind of trash you are. In the alley below, Wen Kai leaned against the wall, looking up at him. Behind her stood a line of monitors. Captain Wen, Vice Captain Meng looks hurt, one whispered, worried. Wen Kai's playful smile was gone. I know. Should we intervene? No. But if he keeps provoking Su Bei. I know. Wen Kai's gaze stayed fixed on the upper floor. He's trying to draw Su Bei out. Ning Fan had lost sight of Su Bei once he entered the alley. The man was like a phantom in the dark, taking lives at will. Wen Kai could order an attack now, but where? They would be striking blind, giving Su Bei more room to maneuver. She knew it. Meng knew it. Still, her eyes flickered with conflict. Little wild dog, old Meng is betting his life on you. If this fails, I'll tear your head off myself. At the window, Meng kept shouting. Quit hiding, coward. Think you're a man? Come out, face me one-on-one. Let's see if I can't cut you down. Blood flecked his spit, but his voice never faltered. Sniping from shadows. What kind of skill is that? Ugly bastard. Your parents must be ashamed. Li Hui trembled, crouching beneath the sill, tugging at Meng's sleeve. Vice Captain. Stop shouting. Meng shoved him away. Vice Captain, are you insane? Do you want to die? Li Hui was frantic. To him, Su Bei was mad and Meng was just as mad. But Meng's cold eyes dropped to him. Li Hui, grow a spine, will you? Li Hui froze. Meng tugged his collar, disappointed. You wear this uniform just to strut around, huh? Then he ignored Li Hui's panic, pulling out a timer. It read, 6:31. 6.5 minutes left. Spirit suppressors had two fatal flaws. First, 20 minutes of activation time. Second, once active, a faint light wall appeared. If Su Bei saw it, even a fool wouldn't step inside. The only way was to lure him into the zone before activation completed. Before the operation, Ning Fan had explained his plan to Wen Kai and Meng. They knew the risks. But they also knew, if it worked, their chance of catching Su Bei was 9 out of 10. Meng's heart pounded. And just when he thought his curses had failed. Who are you calling names? A violent voice rang out. From the 4th-floor window of the 5-story building opposite, a figure appeared. Su Bei. The moment Meng saw him, his dead fish eyes lit up. In his mind echoed Ning Fan's words over the phone. Su Bei is a madman, narrow-minded, obsessive. If you can enrage him before he kills you, he'll show himself. Meng had asked then, and then? Ning Fan had paused. Then, drive the dog into a corner. Who was I cursing? You, of course. The instant Su Bei revealed himself, Vice Captain Meng's spirit surged. You've got guts. Knowing we're hunting you and still daring to show your face. But Su Bei didn't take pride in the words. His expression darkened. You said, my parents should be ashamed? Suddenly Su Bei roared like a madman. Who the hell do you think you are? What gives you the right to insult my parents? Meng faltered. He had meant to provoke Su Bei, yet this reaction was beyond his expectations. The plan had been simple. Once Su Bei showed himself, Meng would stall for time. But no. Su Bei raised his hand. The ring on his finger flared gold. He was about to strike. In the alley, Wen Kai saw it too. Her face hardened. Execute the backup plan. Move. At her command, engines roared from nearby alleys. Su Bei, about to unleash his light arrow, turned instinctively. 4 vehicles surged forward, each bearing a 1-meter column on its roof. The cylinders glowed faintly, gears whirring within. Each vehicle carried a component of the spirit suppressor. Once activated, their center would become a vacuum zone, where spirit attendants could not exist. Spirit suppressors. Su Bei's eyes reddened. He sensed the danger, glaring at the window opposite. You dared trick. But halfway through his curse, he froze. The window was empty. Meng had already slipped away. His task was complete. The cars prowled the alleys. Su Bei hesitated only a moment before fleeing. He trusted his strength, but only with his spirit attendant. He knew the spirit suppressor's power. Caught within its field, his advantage would vanish. Yet the cars hounded him like shadows, circling no matter how he leapt across rooftops. Damn it! Bastards! Panic gnawed at him. The devices took 20 minutes to activate. But Su Bei couldn't tell how long they had already been running. To him they were ticking bombs. Any second they might ignite. And worse, monitors swarmed from every direction, hemming him in. A net of iron. I underestimated F-27's monitors. His eyes blazed crimson. The glow atop the cars grew brighter. The spirit suppressors were close to completion. Fine. I'll gamble. He stopped, raised his hand and aimed at one car. Running would only tighten the noose. He had to take the risk. Whoosh. The light arrow flew. He won. The device hadn't yet activated. Bang. One of the spirit suppressors exploded. Ha! Catch me? You worthless trash. Su Bei laughed with manic glee. With one component destroyed, the device could not complete. The net was torn. Yet even in triumph, unease lingered. He didn't know what other tricks they had prepared. He longed to slaughter them all, but their preparations made him wary. Fine. Live a few more days. Next time I come, I'll butcher every last one of you. He spat the threat and bolted for the gate. The cars halted. From the ruined vehicle, a monitor climbed down, guilt etched on his face as Wen Kai approached. Captain Wen, I'm sorry. I couldn't dodge. It's fine. Wen Kai's voice held no blame. No one can dodge 100-soul light arrow. But we were only 1 minute away. Just 1 minute, and the spirit suppressor would have been complete. Wen Kai's stride never faltered. She looked toward Su Bei's escape and smiled. Captain Wen, how can you smile? Why not? Her smile deepened. We've bought enough time. Su Bei is already caught. Su Bei, spirit attendant blazing, raced like a storm across rooftops. At last he reached the district wall. The gate still bore the blood of the guard he had slain. But now no guards remained. So they pulled everyone just to trap me? He remembered the crowded alleys. The monitors had gone all in. They wanted to pin him inside with the spirit suppressor. Too bad. He had won. At the gate he paused, turned and raised his middle finger to the pursuers. No matter their preparations, as long as they were bound by rules, they would never catch him. Satisfied with his display, he pushed the gate open. Ah, the air outside is better. He even sighed. But as he stepped through, danger prickled his senses. He turned and saw a boy, young-faced, standing by the wall. In his hands a coal-black broken sword. Fell. Shit. Su Bei tried to summon his spirit attendant. But nothing happened. He couldn't activate it. Slash. The broken blade carved across his chest, leaving a wound dozens of centimeters long. Blood sprayed. Su Bei collapsed, chest drenched crimson. He stared in shock at the boy before him. Then, in the corner of his eye, he saw it. A faint shimmering wall. Outside the district, 4 pillars glowed, spinning fast. Another spirit suppressor. The monitors had 2 sets. One mounted on the cars. The other, placed outside the wall as soon as Su Bei entered. It hugged the district's edge. The moment he stepped out, he had walked into its field. All their delay had not been for the cars, but to buy time for the outer device. Ning Fan stood with the broken sword, hatred burning in his eyes. Brother Chuan, are you still alive? Who are you? Su Bei didn't answer Ning Fan's question. Or rather, he didn't even understand what Ning Fan meant. He had killed too many. Brother Chuan? He no longer remembered. At that moment, figures appeared at the district gate. Wen Kai rushed out first. Seeing Su Bei sprawled on the ground, her eyes flashed with fierce excitement. She hooked an arm around Ning Fan's neck. Not bad, kid. You actually caught Su Bei. The others were just as elated. This was Su Bei, an A-class criminal. Even the monitors of F7 had failed to deal with him, and now he was theirs. Ning Fan's mood had been heavy, but with his head pressed against Wen Kai's soft embrace, his heartbeat quickened. Kaijith, let go. I can't breathe. You don't even know how to enjoy a reward, silly boy. She laughed boldly, releasing him, then winked with her bright eyes. Impressed by your big sister? Ning Fan flushed scarlet, embarrassed. Kaijia, let's take him back first. She rolled her eyes, then turned serious, stepping before Su Bei. Allow me to introduce myself. Wen Kai, captain of F-27 monitors. Her voice was cold. Mr. Su, I regret to inform you, you've lost. Su Bei glared at her, defiant. But Wen Kai ignored him, ordering her men to bind him. Soon, Su Bei was dragged to the monitor's headquarters, locked in the same room where Ning Fan had once been held. In the hall outside, attitudes toward Ning Fan had shifted dramatically. Kid. Outstanding. Vice Captain Meng, bare-chested and bandaged at the waist, grinned broadly. High risk wasn't wasted. His role had been the most dangerous in the plan. Had Su Bei not been so reckless, Meng might have died without anyone knowing why. But Su Bei's return to F-27 proved his madness. Wen Kai stood beside Ning Fan, her eyes openly admiring. As promised, the prisoner is yours to interrogate first. She glanced at the room where Su Bei was held. You have 24 hours. Enough. Enough. Then go. Use whatever means you like, just don't kill him. Wait. Ning Fan didn't enter immediately. His gaze shifted to Li Hui, pale and shaken in the corner. Unlike the others, Li Hui's face was drained of color. Su Bei's presence had crushed him. For a moment he had nearly released his spirit attendant. But even then he knew he wasn't Su Bei's match. Come here. Ning Fan's voice was cold. Li Hui looked up, hostility flickering in his eyes. What for? I caught him. Ning Fan's tone was icy. Forgot what you owe me. Meng thought to intervene but held back. No one spoke for Li Hui. He felt suddenly isolated. Heh. Fine. You're tough. Li Hui rose, defiant. Go on. Kick me if you dare. At the wall earlier, Li Hui's kick had been heavy, meant to force Ning Fan to kneel. But Ning Fan had endured. Ning Fan lifted his leg and drove his heel into Li Hui's knee. Crack. The sound of bones snapping made everyone's scalp prickle. Ah! Li Hui screamed, veins bulging, collapsing to one knee. Kid. Even Wen Kai was stunned. She had thought Ning Fan only wanted to return the insult. She hadn't expected him to be so ruthless. Kaijia, this kick was fair, wasn't it? He hesitated, then nodded. Fair. Then I'll go in. Without another glance at Li Hui writhing on the floor, Ning Fan strode into Su Bei's cell. Wen Kai watched his back, brows furrowing slightly. Meng looked at Li Hui with pity but said nothing. Inside, Su Bei sat bound, his wounds crudely dressed, his body caked in mud. When Ning Fan entered, Su Bei's eyes burned with venom, but his lips curled into a smile. That woman said she was captain, didn't she? Bound like a trussed animal, only his neck could move. Send her in. I've no interest in minnows. I'm the one who caught you. Ning Fan stepped closer. Heh. Without their plan, you think you could catch me? Su Bei sneered. Your captain's clever. I'm not a monitor. Ning Fan pressed his hand against Su Bei's wound. But the one who designed the trap was me. Before Su Bei could react, Ning Fan's fingers dug into the wound. He gouged deep. Ah! Su Bei screamed, blood gushing anew. Answer me. Is Brother Chuan alive? Ning Fan's fingers trembled. Su Bei howled, but his eyes locked on Ning Fan, burning with hatred as if to etch his killer's face into memory. Then his gaze flickered. I know who you mean. Sweat poured down his face, yet he laughed, twisted. That wild dog, right? The leader of Wild Dog House, Lin Chuan. Ning Fan's voice was cold. Is he alive? Ha ha ha. Su Bei's laughter turned manic. I remember now. In the mist forest there was a trembling boy. That was you, wasn't it? Ning Fan's eyes widened. Su Bei's face twisted in mockery. I saw you then. I wanted to make you my last prey, chase you until you collapse, then kill you, but you ran too fast. Pity. Ah. Ning Fan's fingers dug deeper into the wound. Answer me. His eyes blazed red. Is Brother Chuan alive? Heh, heh heh heh. Su Bei's veins bulged, his once handsome face contorted into a grotesque mask. He grinned madly at Ning Fan. I slaughtered him. Goddamn you. Ning Fan seized Su Bei's hair and smashed his head against the table. Bang, bang, bang. The tabletop cracked, blood spreading across its surface. You're lying. Ning Fan roared. You're deceiving me, aren't you? Heh, heh heh. Su Bei's face was nearly ruined, nose bent, teeth broken, yet he still laughed. Fucking. Don't believe me, fine. His reply was casual, dismissive. Ning Fan trembled. Ever since learning Su Bei's identity, hope had burned in his chest. He had prayed Su Bei would say Brother Chuan lived. Even wounded, even barely clinging to life, at least then there would be a chance. They could search the mist forest, hunt for him. Then said, Why so angry, boy? Su Bei chuckled. It's just a man dead. I'll kill you myself. Ning Fan panted, drawing the broken sword. One last chance. Tell me, Brother Chuan. Dead. 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 Su Bei glared straight at him. I butchered him. Turned him into a sieve with my arrows. Then you'll pay with your life. Ning Fan raised the sword. But Su Bei only laughed harder. You dare kill me? Suddenly he looked past Ning Fan. The brat doesn't understand my value. But you, Captain, surely you do. Behind Ning Fan, Wen Kai's voice rang out. Kid, we agreed, you can use any means, but his life must be spared. At some point she had entered, arms folded, leaning against the wall, her face grim. Keep your word. Why keep this beast alive? Ning Fan snarled, eyes locked on Su Bei. Central District's rules. A-class criminals must be handed over. Wen Kai's tone was cold. We can't execute him ourselves. Letting you interrogate him already breaks the rules. Rules again. Ning Fan's voice shook with fury. They can kill with spirit attendants inside the district, but you can't. You catch him yet can't punish him. Must hand him over. Rules, rules, rules. Are these damn rules only made to bind those who obey? Brother Chuan had obeyed. And now he was dead. Killed by one who obeyed nothing. Why? Who were the rules truly meant to restrain? I know how you feel. You don't. Ning Fan cut her off, raging. Those are your monitor rules. They have nothing to do with me. He swung the sword down. Wen Kai's eyes narrowed. Her wrist flicked. Clang. A flash of white deflected the blade, pinning it into the wall. An earring. Kid, this is still monitor ground. Her voice was sharp. Don't make me look like I betray my own. Ning Fan stared at her. Until now he had never seen Wen Kai fight. He only knew others feared her. And her strike, so fast he hadn't even seen it. Without a spirit attendant. She opened the door, summoned men. Treat his wounds. Then turned to Ning Fan. Come with me. We need to talk. Ning Fan hesitated, then followed. On the rooftop, Wen Kai leaned casually against the railing. When someone you respect dies, it hurts, doesn't it? She said softly. You want revenge. Ning Fan stayed silent. She sighed. Lin Chuan was a righteous man. Ning Fan's pupils shrank. He stared at her, wary. He knew. She knew his identity. Surprised. Wen Kai smiled. Didn't expect me to know you're the newest wild pup of Wild Dog House? The air froze. She had called him Little Wild Dog before. He had thought it coincidence. Now he knew it wasn't. How do you know? Relax. We're not enemies. She waved a hand. That shipment Yang Beihai tricked you into delivering? The recipient was me. Meanwhile, outside the district wall, the spirit suppressors had already been removed. A sleek vehicle 6 or 7 meters long stood at F-27's gate. Unlike Yang Beihai's battered truck, this one gleamed, polished paint, refined design. The door opened. A man in a gray uniform stepped out. His hair cropped short, cloth shoes on his feet, his gait uneven, limping. He approached the gate. "Excuse me. Open up." "What business?" A small window slid open. The atmosphere inside F-27 was tense after Su Bei's rampage. Even captured, his shadow lingered. "Collecting someone." The guard saw an ordinary face, neither handsome nor ugly, the kind lost in a crowd. "Collecting Su Bei." The man's tone remained polite. "Please open the gate." "Thank you." At the name, the air inside grew heavy. Monitors at the gate drew their weapons. "You're certain, you mean Su Bei?" one asked. "Certain." The man smiled. "I just received word you caught him." The monitor frowned. "You're from Central District?" Su Bei was to be transferred there. But they had caught him less than 2 hours ago. Central was far. Too soon. "No." The man shook his head, smiling faintly. Unease prickled the guards. He drew a palm-sized electronic tablet showing his credentials. On the screen, Tri-Union District, Yiliang. The monitor's eyes widened. You're from the Tri-Union District?" "Indeed." Yiliang tucked the tablet away. "Oh, and Su Bei is our young master." Before they could react, he added, "Son of Su Wanjun, one of the Tri-Union leaders." The monitors froze. This was bigger than them. Far bigger. "Wait here. I must report to the captain." One monitor's tone had shifted. But Yi Liang shook his head. "Su Wanjun sent me. Time is short. I cannot wait." The monitor bristled. "Su Bei is an A-class criminal. Even if you're Tri-Union." "Spirit attendant, covering sky." Yi Liang whispered. You were the recipient?" At this point, Ning Fan knew there was no use hiding. When Kai had spoken too plainly. "Yes. That shipment cost me 15,000 sola." He shrugged. "Even if you hadn't moved against Yang Beihai, I'd have found a way to kill him myself." Ning Fan still kept his guard up. "You never suspected the goods went wrong in our hands?" "I told you, Lin Chuan was a righteous man." When Kai's tone was calm. "I didn't know him well, but I trust my instincts. Women often do. And besides, the way Wild Dog House acted afterward, it wasn't the behavior of thieves betraying their own." She sighed. "So, Lin Chuan is dead?" "I don't know." Ning Fan shook his head. "I don't believe it." Though Su Bei had insisted again and again that Lin Chuan was dead, Ning Fan refused to accept it. He still didn't know how Su Bei had received those blade wounds. If Lin Chuan had truly inflicted them, then Su Bei might have lied out of spite. Su Bei was a madman. And expecting truth from a madman was folly. Fortunately, Ning Fan still had time to pry it out of him. "What are your plans now?" "I've learned Wild Dog House has 3 survivors left," Wen Kai said softly. "Revenge for my brothers," Ning Fan murmured. She hesitated, then patted his shoulder. "Su Bei will be sent to Central. Don't worry, an A-class criminal won't have an easy life there." It was her way of urging him not to dream of killing Su Bei himself. Before Ning Fan could argue, she pulled a slip of paper from her pocket and handed it to him. "Here. The files on the 3 remaining members of War Bear." Ning Fan blinked. When Kai smiled. "No need to thank me." Her mind was sharp. Once she confirmed Ning Fan was from Wild Dog House, she had prepared War Bear's files immediately. A reward for catching Su Bei. A compensation for denying him the right to kill Su Bei himself. All right. Central's people could arrive at any time. Use what time you have to ask what you need. She stretched languidly, her figure outlined against the night. "Take the air, calm yourself. Don't make things harder for me." Ning Fan sighed. Whatever else, when Kai's reasoning left him no fault to find. Don't worry. I won't kill him. He turned toward the stairs. But when Kai suddenly froze, her gaze snapped toward the district wall. Ning Fan felt it too, an oppressive force pressing down from that direction. Like storm clouds crushing a mountain. This is... Damn it. When Kai's face hardened. They really think F-27 is a chicken coop? Everyone wants a piece of us now. Outside the wall, Yiliang stood with hands lowered, eyes cold. Above his head, black clouds gathered heavy and vast, blanketing the district wall. He raised his hand then let it fall. From the clouds, lightning split the sky. Boom. The massive wall shattered like paper torn open with a 4-meter crack. Yiliang waved again. Boom. Cracks spread, spiderwebbing outward, until the wall collapsed entirely. The gate lay in ruins. Yiliang limped forward through the rubble. Guards and monitors lay scattered, stunned by the shockwave, staring in horror at the cripple before them. What kind of power was this? One man breaking a city. This was beyond their comprehension. So this was the strength of the Tri-Union District. Tell me, where is the young master held? Yiliang's voice remained polite as he addressed one man. But the man was frozen, lost in shock. Yiliang sighed, lifted his hand again. Lightning fell. The man turned to ash, smoke curling with the stench of burnt flesh. Yiliang turned to another. Kindly point the way. Zhu Bei, he's in the monitor's headquarters. The man stammered, terrified. Yiliang had already shown the price of silence. He pointed quickly. Over there. Thank you. Yiliang bowed slightly then limped onward. Even after he left, the monitors remained huddled, trembling in fear. Yiliang entered the alleys. Minutes later he stopped. Figures blocked his path. When Kai stood at the front, Ning Fan at her side. Even Vice Captain Meng, still wounded, had come. Who are you? When Kai's face was grave as stone. That spirit attendant just now, was it yours? Circumstances forced me. Forgive me. Yiliang raised his hands in a courteous salute. I am Yiliang. I've come to collect the young master. Young master. Zhu Bei. He noted their uniforms. You must be monitors. Kindly show me the way. Meng sneered. You think we're your servants? Whatever you want, we just obey. Yiliang arched a brow, unruffled. And you are? Vice Captain of F-27 monitors, Meng. Boom. Meng was gone. Charred to cinders. I have no need for your name. Yiliang's voice was calm. Everyone froze. What had just happened? Meng was dead. Even when Kai trembled. The spirit attendant he wielded was beyond anything they knew. Yiliang walked forward. Stop. When Kai's shout rang out, Yiliang frowned, impatience flickering in his eyes. He raised his hand again. Ning Fan's gaze sharpened. Spirit attendant. Sword without sorrow. The broken blade in his hands flared as Ning Fan lunged forward. This man killed with a gesture. And they were supposed to cling to rules? Yiliang's brow lifted. Child, your courage is admirable. He flicked his fingers. A bolt of lightning shot toward Ning Fan's brow. Casual. Effortless. To him, the boy's defiance was nothing more than a moth striking a tree. But then, surprise lit his eyes. Ning Fan's sword cleaved the lightning in two. Crack, crack, crack. The thunder split, striking walls to either side, blasting two buildings apart. Ning Fan, when Kai whispered, stunned. You want to talk rules again? Ning Fan didn't look back. His eyes locked on Yiliang. Every time I hear that word, I want to vomit. When Kai fell silent. My life is mine. If I die because I lack strength, so be it. But if I die bound by rules others forced on me, I refuse. Yiliang smiled. You have more than courage, it seems. And as his lips curved, the storm above grew darker, more violent. Lightning flickered within the black clouds, each spark heavy with crushing power. Ning Fan's arms trembled. It wasn't fear. When he split the lightning just now, he had felt the raw force behind it. Even stripped of 70% of its strength, the lingering shock left his arms numb. Both were swollen. Spirit attendant, Amber. A cold voice rang out behind him. Kid, keep going. When Kai's eyes gleamed like ice. I'm right behind you. You. Ning Fan could hardly believe it. When Kai was using a spirit attendant inside the district? What do you mean, you? Her teeth clenched. That bastard killed my vice captain. If I swallow this, what right do I have to call myself captain? Her earrings flared gold. The light surged outward, wrapping around Yi Liang. Hit him. Her shout was fierce. Ning Fan didn't hesitate. He stamped the ground, broken sword thrusting for Yi Liang's throat. Yi Liang moved to parry, but the golden light clung to him, thick and heavy, slowing his motion. The sword tip was less than a meter from his neck. Ah! Yi Liang sighed. Then his gaze hardened. He raised his crippled leg and slammed it down. The moment his foot lifted, Ning Fan felt it. His aura transformed. Like a blade unsheathed. General Yi, visiting F-27 doesn't require such theatrics, does it? A deep voice rolled from afar. Yi Liang's face shifted. His killing aura vanished. His lame foot touched down lightly, his body sliding aside just enough to evade Ning Fan's strike. He shook once, and when Kai's golden light scattered like dust, dissolving into the air, she froze. Her spirit attendant dispersed with a shrug? Before she could react, Yi Liang raised his hand and pressed it against Ning Fan's chest. Ning Fan had already lifted his sword in defense. The palm struck the blade. Buzz. The sword rang with a teeth-aching hum. Ning Fan was hurled back several meters before staggering to his feet. Yi Liang narrowed his eyes, studying him, then glanced thoughtfully at his own palm. Ning Fan and Wen Kai were both shaken. Their combined assault, undone so easily? And this was him holding back. If no one had interrupted, if that crippled foot had truly fallen, what would have happened? As the three stood in tense silence, a car rolled slowly down the street. The door opened. A stout middle-aged man stepped out. Quite lively tonight. At the sight of him, Wen Kai straightened instantly, face solemn. Chief. This was the highest authority in F-27. Chief Li Jiang. He nodded at Wen Kai's disheveled state, then turned to Yi Liang. General Yi. An honor. You are the chief of F-27? Yes. Li Jiang. He smiled like a tiger in sheep's skin, genial and warm. Call me Little Li. Yi Liang bowed. I came. To collect Commander Su's son? Of course. Come with me. Li Jiang gestured politely toward the car. Wen Kai stiffened. Chief. Su Bei is an A-class criminal. We've already notified Central to take him. I'll handle Central. Li Jiang pointed at Yi Liang. When Thousand Soul Yi Liang comes in person, we must give face. Thousand Soul. When Kai finally understood. She had been facing a Thousand Soul master. You're really going to release Su Bei? Ning Fan's voice cut through. Li Jiang paused, turning to study him. And you are? I'm the one who caught Su Bei. Promising. Li Jiang smiled. Go rest. It's late. I said I caught Su Bei. Ning Fan repeated firmly. Li Jiang raised a brow. And? Kaijie told me I couldn't kill him. Because the rule is A-class criminals must be taken by Central. Ning Fan pointed at Yi Liang. Is he from Central? Ning Fan. Wen Kai tugged at him. But Ning Fan stood tall, eyes steady, waiting. He is not. Li Jiang's smile faded. You're dissatisfied, boy? He turned to Yi Liang. General Yi, please board first. Don't keep the young master waiting. I'll handle this. Very well. Yi Liang stepped into the car without hesitation. When it drove off, Li Jiang approached Ning Fan. He was shorter, forced to tilt his head to meet Ning Fan's gaze. You can't handle Yi Liang. Ning Fan opened his mouth, but Li Jiang cut him off. Don't posture. You're not his match. Few in all of District FR. Su Bei will be taken. If you're unhappy once they leave the gate, do as you wish. If you're strong enough to snatch him from Yi Liang, that's your skill. When Kai's voice trembled with anger. But Chief Yi Liang killed old Meng. I know. Li Jiang sighed, the genial mask gone. Send compensation to his family. I'll add 50,000 sola myself. It's not about money, Chief. When Kai's voice rose. Why must we swallow this? We could report to Central, let them. Why? Li Jiang's gaze was sharp. Because he is Su Wanjuan's son. Even if you report, Central will still send him back to the Tri-Union. Did you not wonder how Yi Liang learned of Su Bei's capture so quickly? We had just taken him and Yi Liang arrived. Who leaked the news if not us? The answer was clear. Central. Both Wen Kai and Ning Fan felt a knot tighten in their chests. I know what you're thinking. Listen. If I truly opposed Yi Liang rallied all of F-27, we could stop him. He's strong, but only one man. Li Jiang's smile was bitter. But do you know the consequence of holding Su Bei? Su Wanjun would come himself. Li Jiang's eyes gleamed. And he would bring his army.